Welcome to the Garage of Great Ideas. I am Professor Gizmo, and today I am attempting to build the world's tallest tower using only marshmallow fluff and slippery crackers.
Scanning structural integrity. Integrity is 0. Professor, this is a terrible idea.
Nonsense, Widget. It just needs more fluff.
Observation. The tower has become a puddle.
You are right. The problem with building things is gravity. Gravity wants everything to fall down. If only there was a building block that stuck together without being sticky.
Accessing database. Are you referring to the automatic binding brick?
The what now?
The original name for Lego, invented by Ole Kirk Christiansen in Denmark.
Ah, yes, the greatest toy maker in history. Hold on to your lug nuts, Widget. We are diving into the history of the brick. Picture it. Denmark, the 1930s. Ole Kirk was a carpenter. He made excellent wooden stepladders and ironing boards.
Sounds thrilling.
It was honest work, but times got tough. Nobody was buying stepladders, so he started making small wooden toys like pull-along ducks on wheels. Kids loved them, but Ole Kirk had a problem.
Let me guess. His workshop burned down.
Yes, how did you know?
My database indicates his workshop burned down 3 separate times. He was very unlucky with fire.
But he never gave up. After the fires, he decided to try a brand new material, something futuristic, something called plastic.
Plastic is moldable, durable, and highly painful when stepped on with bare feet.
Exactly. He bought a giant machine that melted plastic and squished it into shapes. He started making little plastic teddy bears and tractors. But then he saw a British toy called Kidcraft bricks. They were okay, but they were just loose plastic squares. If you built a tower, it fell over.
Like your cracker tower.
Precisely. Ole Kirk wanted a system, a way for the bricks to lock together so kids could build huge, crazy things that didn't break. He called it leggot.
Translating from Danish, leggot means play well.
Lego. But the first Lego bricks were terrible. They didn't stick. You'd build a castle, sneeze, and the whole thing would explode.
So how did they fix it?
It took 10 years of experiments, but in 1958, Ole Kirk's son, Gottfried, had the aha moment. The secret isn't what's on top of the brick, it's what's underneath.
Engaging scanner. Looking at the bottom of a 2x4 red brick, I detect 3 hollow cylinders.
Tubes. He added tubes underneath. Okay, Widget, imagine you're holding a brick. The top has those little bumps, right?
Studs.
Right. When you press another brick on top, the studs squeeze in between the tubes underneath and the outer wall of the brick. It's a tight squeeze.
Click.
That squeeze creates friction. It grips the brick tight. They call it clutch power.
Clutch power. It sounds like a superhero ability.
It is. It means the bricks hold on tight enough to defy gravity, but not so tight that a kid can't pull them apart to build something else. It was perfect engineering.
And that is why I can build a spaceship that is also a submarine, that is also a dinosaur.
Exactly, because every single Lego brick made since 1958 still fits together today. You could take your dad's old Lego bricks and click them onto a brand new Star Wars set. It's one giant universal system of creativity.
Query: Professor, if Lego is so perfect, why are you still covered in marshmallow fluff?
Because, Widget, science is messy. Now, hand me that bucket of bricks. I'm going to build a life-size robot assistant that's nicer to me than you are.
Good luck. You will need approximately 35,000 bricks, and I will still be smarter.
We'll see about that. Until next time, inventors, keep building.